I've had the Big Lebowski for probably about a month now, a little over a month, something like that. And I was looking for a reason to do another video on it because, well, quite frankly, I've fallen in love with the game. It's already, for me, an all-time classic. But I just thought to myself, what sort of video can I do? I've got a sort of extravaganza planned for it where I want to sort of get the camera inside the game, get a camera inside the bowling alley, really sort of take a lot of the imagery off the screen to fully show in video form exactly what this game can do. This is not going to be able to be demonstrated to you fully with just a handheld camera. It's going to need not cameras, it's going to need a lot of work. That's for the future. That's a video for the future. But what I wanted to do was have my say on the Big Lebowski. Now, anybody that knows me and has spoken to me on the phone will know all these things anyway, but I just can't stop talking about it. There's one thing I can do even more than talk about Big Lebowski, and that's play it, because I've played it every single day since I've had it. Now, what I've decided to do is put it on to the Gonzo's Pinball Flipperama Top 50, which you can hopefully see. It's just over there. Ordinarily, I would only stick something on the top 50 that I've had for quite some time. I'm going to break my own rule on this one because it needs to go up there. I'm going to give a spoiler now. It's going to go up very high. And quite frankly, because work's been quite frenetic at the moment, that could do with a little bit of a boost, that board there. So once I get into October, I'm going to start doing a bit more output on this channel. What I'll also be doing on the top 50 is I'll probably do another video where I review 3 at the same time, and I'll just bung them all up there because I just think it would be nice to populate that board a little bit more than it is already and just get some conversation going on that. Now, if you don't know what my top 50 is, I'll just give you a brief explanation. There's a whole series of them, and I think there's at least 10 other videos which you can go and you can watch now. But I'll just give you a brief overview of the rules. I love the Pinside Top 100, but I don't feel that it reflects my personal preferences. There are games within the top 10 that I don't agree with. There are some in the top 10 that I really do agree with. There are some in the top 50 which I think, how the hell are they even there? And then there are games that aren't even in the Pinside Top 100. They're sort of down, you know, on the second page, so to speak. And I think, why is that not in the top 20 or 30 games? In essence, I disagree with a lot of it, and I also agree with a lot of it. So once I looked at the criteria, I thought, you know what? They're assessing things as best they can for a website that's got to take everybody's opinion into account. So what they do is the Pinside Top 100, they assess games for animation artwork, audio quality, audio variation, backglass artwork, gameplay, game rules, longevity, lighting, music, playfield artwork, playfield layout, theme. A lot of these things aren't particularly relevant to me and what I like in a machine. So my top 50 is based on the things I like, and they are, as I'm sure I'll have displayed it up and down the screen, are in graphic form now. Is it fun? Is it addictive? Is it humorous? Has it got charm and personality? These are the things that are important to me in a pinball machine. The toys and mechanisms. Is the game approachable? What are the shots like? What are their positions? What are the rules like? Are there achievable goals? Now, when I say about rules and goals, that doesn't mean I need it to be extensive. There are some games, for my playing style and my playing ability, that are just too deep for me. The rules are too complex, and that's why it's important that this is my top 50. You're not going to agree with it. You're really not, because nobody has the same personal taste as everybody else. But I'm just sharing with you mine. Is the game rewarding or frustrating? And do I regret it leaving? I think that those are really the things. And that's one way you can really only know. And for that reason, I wasn't going to do the Big Lebowski, because it sort of hasn't left yet. It's just always been here. And all I can say is, it's going to stay here. For the majority of the time, it's going to stay here. If it does go, it'll be going out sort of briefly on rent or because a friend borrows it or something like that. But I know I'm going to keep this game, this Big Lebowski. It's that good. I'm going to keep it for a long, long time. Now, well, forever. It's a forever pin. It's a keeper, as some people may call them. And I'm pretty sure about that already, because it is one of the best pinball machines I have ever played. And when I say one of the best, I don't mean one of the best 20. I think it's one of the top 3 pinball machines I've ever played. Now, here's a funny thing, because going on my list, one of the categories on my list are shots and positions. I have to say, with this game, I don't think there's a single shot on this game that would get into my top 20 shots in pinball. It doesn't have the change of direction that maybe a Foo Fighters has or a Godzilla. There's no katana ramp shot. There's no schnicked on it. There's nothing overly innovative about any of the shots on that game. In fact, for many of the shots, it's pretty standard fan layout stuff, really. So from a starting position, it's shots-wise, there's nothing exceptional to it. It was Matt Vince was the one that pointed out to me the ramp on the left-hand side is basically a mirror of the ramp on the right-hand side of Medieval Madness with a diverter at the top. Not a bad ramp to copy, it has to be said. What I would also say is there are no poor shots and there are no bad shots on here. However, it's what the game does thereafter that really stands it aside, I think, from the majority of its competitors. Dutch Pinball have made a truly exceptional pinball machine. And I'm not going to go into the history of the pinball machine or Dutch Pinball or anything like that. Truth be known, there are other people that can discuss it far better than I can. I'm Johnny come lately. I'm very late to the party. This game was out, I believe, in 2016. I'm really discovering it properly now, even though I was lucky enough to play it at Pinball Republic. I think it was Thomas's machine, and I played it, 3 years ago. The original video with Matt Vince playing it is actually on this channel. But I knew then that I loved the game. But the rules weren't fleshed out, the code wasn't fleshed out, and now it is. Now we are dealing with a finished pinball machine. And there is so much love has gone into this. I'm bowled over by it. There we go. I am astounded. We talk about on this channel, and we say it too much, and to the point I'm going to actually stop saying it, which is, did somebody build the best pinball machine that they possibly could? And in this instance, they absolutely did. I can't think of a single thing that they could have packed into it. And I'm talking about under the playfield, on top of the playfield. I'm talking the playfield itself, the glass. Even the glass on top of the playfield is made. I've never seen anything quite like it. It's made by a German company, actually. I have all my glass is reflective glass in here. This is a standard above. Everything seems to be a standard above on this. The weight of it is offensive, quite frankly. It's so heavy. The back glass, we've been through all this before. I'm not here to talk about the thickness of the back glass and how thick the cabinet is. The build quality and the materials used, I think, are unsurpassed. Now, I don't doubt that actually when we finally see Pulp Fiction, that will have had an equal amount of love put into it as this. But at the moment, I think this is unsurpassed. It's as close as you're going to get to an old Bally Williams game. But whereas the old Bally Williams games were built to go into an arcade to earn some money and eventually be thrown away, when Dutch Pinball have built this pinball machine, they know it's going into people's homes, and it is built for that. It's built to last. They know this thing is going to be sat in people's lounges, pin rooms, man caves, whatever, for the next 30 years. Hey, I'll be doing well if I get 30 years of it. I'll be very, very pleased indeed. So we'll do a follow-up video in 30 years. How about that? Let's just go through a few things. Is it fun? It's immense fun. It helps that you like the film, but if you don't, that's no problem either. But it is incredibly good fun. It is addictive. The second part of the question on the criteria, is it addictive? Immensely so. It's addictive because it's fun. It's addictive because of the rules. There's one of the things I like about some pinball machines is when you get that risk and reward element. It's one of the things that I love about Batman, for instance, which is Batman 66, which is another stunning game and an excellent game. And I still think to myself, that would be one example. When I look at the Pinside Top 100, Batman is too far down. It's a lovely risk and reward. The code on it is very, very good. Lyman Sheets code, George Gomez, who is my favourite pinball designer. What a combination. But the code in it gambles. Do you want to take what you've already got, or do you want to gamble it to earn some more points? You have that all throughout on the Big Lebowski in this final code, from each character multi-ball all the way through to some of the bigger multi-balls, up to the shot on the upper playfield, which if you want to get it up there during multi-ball, you can increase, by hitting a shot, you can increase your jackpot on any multi-ball, may I say. Just the rule set of putting off whether or not to get the character multi-ball and whether to increase it before you start it is addictive. I'll tell you what else is addictive, is the bowling on this game. Now, you can actually just play bowling. Myself and my daughter, actually, after school, not me, I don't go to school, she does. After school, we will play just bowling. You can set it up, a 2-player game, and all you do is bowl. There are 10 frames or whatever it is. I'm not sure what a bowling game is called. But you're 10 frames each, and you just bowl it, so you can do that. But actually, during the game, if you can play from within the game 10 frames of bowling, it gives you a super bowling jackpot. I spend my time sometimes just chasing that within the game. It's very, very addictive. There are lots of different modes on it, and the incorporation of those modes is second to none. They've tied it in beautifully with the theme. They've tied each mode in with the video clips. And I don't feel when I'm playing that game that any one of those iconic catchphrases, one of those iconic quotes from the Big Lebowski film is missing. Every single one of them is on there, and it's tied in with the appropriate mode. I think one thing I would say about this game, it is intuitive. Still, yet, I have not picked up, I've been playing it a month, I have not picked up a rule book. I've not even looked at the cards on it. I'm not even sure I've put the cards. I think there will be cards on there, and the apron. But I've not looked at them. I don't know, and I feel like I'm almost there. There are other games I think I had Avengers Infinity Quest for 3 months, and I didn't have a clue what was going on, and I'd read some of the rules. This is intuitive. You just naturally know what you should be doing. And I quite like that. I quite like having a game and learning the rules organically. For that, it's amazing. Has it got charm and personality? As much as any pinball machine I can think of. There are lots of pinball machines with charm and personality, but there are loads without it. This has it. As I say, it will help you massively if you enjoy the film, but even if you don't, you're going to start to fall in love with some of these characters just through the pinball machine itself anyway. Toys and mechanisms. I believe it to be unsurpassed. I really do. They didn't need to go as far as they did. They did not need to engineer that bowling alley, but they did it anyway. It could not have been easy. Each bowling pin has its own individual solenoid. It's a masterpiece. It's one of the reasons why this game is so damn heavy. But the bowling alley is wonderful. The rug, and I'm not talking about the rug you get with the game. Yes, you do get a rug with the game. The rug that's famous from the film. The whole film, the rug is the centerpiece of the film. A great film, Coen Brothers film, just a cult classic. I'm talking about the rug inside the game, which is a bash toy. And each time you hit the rug rolls back. You hit it again, it'll roll back some more. And eventually, it'll roll back to the extent that it reveals an aperture. You hit the ball into that hole, and then it will start your mode. Rug modes, one of the modes, rug modes. Absolutely amazing. What happens thereafter obviously depends on which mode you've selected. But they are varied, they are good, they are intuitive, and at all times the screen, the call-outs, and the lighting is telling you what you should be hitting. As I say, very, very intuitive. Possibly my favourite toy is the car up the top. Again, they did not have to do it. It's not a massive feature of the film. Unlike the rug is a massive feature of the film. The bowling alley features in the film quite significantly. Although, I don't believe in the film you ever see the dude bowl. I think you see Donnie bowl. I think you see Walter at the end of it. You certainly see a Jesus bowl. But I don't think you ever see the dude bowl. Despite the lack of bowling in the actual film, a lot of the film is set within the bowling alley. You don't see much of the car, but there are a couple of really iconic parts with the car in. And of course, there's one part in the film where Walter I don't really want to spoil the film, but look, I say about spoilers, the film's been out, must be out 20, 30 years. If you haven't seen it now, then the spoilers sort of your fault, really. There's a point where somebody smashes up the dude's car. Let's leave it at that. Walter smashes up someone's car, someone smashes up the dude's car. And one of the things you have to do is to smash the car up on this. But the car is hidden. You initiate a mode, the car appears, and you have to smash it up. What are you going to smash it up with? With a pinball, of course. Because, let's be fair, no one wants to take a baseball bat to a pinball machine, do they? It's wonderful. And the modes are varied. There are some modes where you only get one chance to hit the car, so you'll get one flip on the flipper. There are other modes where you could just keep hitting it as a bash toy. There are other modes where you have to avoid hitting the car altogether, which is easier said than done, actually. Wonderful toys, wonderful mechanisms. I mean, I really, really could go on. But those are the main toys and the mechanisms. But there are a ton of other flourishes in there, like the White Russian, like the bowling alley. I don't even know what it's called. The thing in the bowling alley that the balls come out of, where you retrieve the balls and you pick them up to bowl, that's in there as well. The bowling pin tops on the pop bumpers, wonderful. 2 pop bumpers on it. That's right. It's just right. It's absolutely right. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind it when they've got one. I like it. I like it when they, I think it works, on Godzilla. I think it really, really works there. I'd rather not have 3. 3's okay. I hate 4 pop bumpers. 2's nice. I like it, and it works really, really well on here as well. Then, of course, you've got the upper playfield, which I alluded to earlier. The upper playfield is very good. It's been spoilt recently here. I've been lucky enough to have a Foo Fighters Premium, a Scooby-Doo, and, of course, the Big Lebowski. All 3 of them have very nice upper playfields. I think they're doing it well at the moment. I think Spooky are as well with Halloween and would be Ultraman as well. At least have good working upper playfields that you can play actual shots on. This, in many respects, actually, there's not a plethora of shots on this. There are 3, not including the car, there are 3 standard shots on it. And really, you're only most of the time hitting 2 of them. Do you know what? Maybe a little bit like the positioning of Whitewater, if you like, up there. But they are proper shots, they're real shots, they're makeable shots. And do you know what? It's not a gimmick, there are real reasons to do it. You have to do it, you're not going to progress the game that much if you don't do it. One thing I did notice maybe with Foo Fighters, because I had the Pro and then when I had the Premium here, I was actually still able to progress the game without really using the upper playfield. I could not flip at all. When the ball went up to the upper playfield, it would come back down and I would still progress within the game. You will not progress in this game if you don't use the upper playfield, but the shots are very, very makeable. So yes, the toys and the mechanisms, absolutely brilliant. Is it approachable? It's totally approachable. Do be aware, though, it is an adult film, very much an adult film, this film. So if you have children around, you're going to want it on family-friendly mode. It's not quite as rude as The Sopranos, but it's pretty up there. It's definitely an 18-rated pinball machine, but it's very approachable. And I think my non-pinball friends who've come round and played it, they love it. They want to play more. In fact, a friend of mine who just generally will only come round to this house and play one game of pinball and then will just crack on and do other things. When he came round, he said, I want to play more of this. I want to learn. He asked me, can I come round to learn to play this game? So now my non-pinball friend wants to come in here just to play the Big Lebowski. That says everything. The shots and positions, we've covered that. Nice, standard fan layout. The shots are not remarkable at all, but where they're positioned, why they're positioned there, and the toys that you have to hit, and the modes that those shots unlock are remarkable. So they make them. There are some satisfying shots. Don't get me wrong. The Donny Orbit is a satisfying shot. The Maud shot is a satisfying shot. The Dude Ramp is satisfying. I'm just saying. Sometimes on this channel, when we do a chinwag, when we do a podcast, we ask people, "What's your favourite shot in pinball?" This won't be on there. Nobody's going to say, "Oh, this shot from the Big Lebowski." It won't be. As I say, but there is not a bad shot on it. But it's everything else that goes to make this pinball table. Rules and achievable goals. Well, I think I've pretty much covered that. They really are achievable. This game is pitched at the level where I feel I may get to the end. And it doesn't feel far off on my best games, I do really well. I like the scoring on this game, by the way. Much like Turtles, I think. I rather score and be in the millions because I just find it easier to track. When it's in the billions, it becomes. It sort of reminds me of going maybe to some far-flung countries when I was younger, where you would take £1, one English pound, and it would be worth sort of 1 million of another currency or something like that. So I find it a little bit like that, but I'm sort of used to it with pinball. With this game, you've had a really good game on it if you get 30 million. And I like that. I really do. Is it rewarding or is it frustrating? It's just not frustrating at all. It's just incredibly rewarding. You feel like you've had fun when you play this game, which takes you back to the top of it. Do I regret it leaving? Well, it's not left. And it's not likely to. But I think the very fact that I'm sat here now talking to you about it in the way that I am, and I'm willing to do this video so early, probably tells you exactly what I think about this game. I've been very, very lucky since I started this hobby to have had so many pinball machines in this house and through this house. And I'm not in a position where I can just buy limitless pinball machines. This is not the case at all. I have a nice but small collection which I've built up over time, and the majority of pinball machines in here have either been loaned to me or given to me by Pinball Heaven to do reviews on, or loaned to me by friends, or rented. So I've been very, very lucky that I've probably had nearly 50 pinball machines through this house. And for me to want to do this game now probably says everything. Which reminds me of something I didn't mention at the start of the video. One of the criteria for this top 50 is the machine has to have been in this house. So I've had I had 3 messages recently. One of them was saying, you haven't done Addams Family. Addams Family is not going on there because I haven't had one here. Twilight Zone is not on there. Someone else asked, because someone's asking about Twilight Zone. It's my friend Alan, who funny enough is doing his Twilight Zone up. And to be fair, Alan has offered to loan me a Twilight Zone. So it was just after Pinfest. It was a little bit busy. And I had the lurgy. Got COVID. COVID was bad, but it did allow me to play lots of Big Lebowski. So I haven't had that. And I had a message the other day. Somebody, I think it was on maybe one of the Foo Fighters videos, and someone said, why haven't you uploaded your Venom video yet? Well, I don't have a Venom, so that's why. So I'm not able to put anything on that list that hasn't lived in this house. And just looking at that list now, looking at Champion Pub, World Cup Soccer, I'll tell you now, Champion Pub was lent to me by my friend John. Attack from Mars was lent to me by my friend Matt. Medieval Madness lent to me by my friend Matt. World Cup Soccer by my friend Alan. Ghostbusters by my friend John. I mean, half that list isn't there without you guys and without my friends helping me out. And I wouldn't be able to do this, by the way, without the help of Pinball Heaven and Dutch Pinball. So I love this game so much. So I'm going to walk over there and put it on the list now. It's going pretty high. Let's go and see. Basically, let's have a look now and see whereabouts at the top this is going to sit. So where is the Big Lebowski going to reside on that board there? Well, let's just go through them sequentially because, well, it's fun. Popeye, Ghostbusters, clearly it will go above those. Judge Dredd, Medieval Madness, yes, absolutely. Now, I was planning on doing a review of this to change the order, so this is always subject to change. Those are going to get changed, and I'm already thinking about swapping around Avengers Infinity Quest and Medieval Madness, but we might wait for the video to do that. World Cup Soccer, yes, absolutely. Big Lebowski, is it better than Champion Pub? Yes, it is, but now we are getting into serious games, of course, because Champion Pub was another game that was just packed full of toys. The skipping rope, the speedball, the big bruiser in the middle of the playfield as well would turn around, the heavy bag, that was packed full of toys, but obviously it can't match the Big Lebowski for general gameplay and rules and whatnot. But it was very, very good. I think massively underrated Champion Pub. packed full of games. Not many companies now. Actually, maybe Big Lebowski would, and I'm pretty sure if CGC decided to do it, they would. Very few pinball companies would be brave enough to make a game as packed as the Champion Pub now. Let's just say that much. So we're going to move the Champion Pub down a little bit because it's clearly going there. Now, here's a really good one. Is Big Lebowski better than Elvira House of Horrors? I was lucky enough. Well, clearly, I've had every one of those games here, but Elvira was here, it was mine, and it was here for a long time. Great game, again. Got the crypt, the house, which is absolutely magnificent. Again, you've got the trunk in there as well. There's a lot going on that game, an awful lot going on Elvira. However, I'm going to rank Big Lebowski above Elvira's House of Horrors. That leads us Fishtails and Attack from Mars up the top. I'm going to tell you now on Fishtails, great game, really, really good game. Mark Ritchie game. Big Lebowski is going to finish above Fishtails, which leaves us one question, and this goes to show you how highly I rank this game. And I'm glad I didn't get that sentence wrong. Is Big Lebowski better than Attack from Mars? We are dealing with an absolute classic in Attack from Mars, but we are dealing with, I think, a future modern classic, if there is such a thing, with Big Lebowski. This is really, really tough. So what it comes down to are a couple of things on any of the games. I always try and imagine that every machine has the same value. So just imagine you have no pinball machines and someone is going to loan you a pinball machine for a year. They're going to take it back, so there's no money changing hands here. What would you rather have in your house? And the Big Lebowski I'd rather have than all of these games here. It comes down to what would I rather have, Big Lebowski or Attack from Mars? I think at the moment, I'm going to put the Big Lebowski just there, but I suspect it may move, and I have only had the game a month, and I can't see it moving down. But don't forget, there's some really, really big hitters on this list that I haven't put up there yet. Many would consider Deadpool to be my favourite game. A lot of people have said that to me. Is Deadpool going to go top? Batman 66, another absolute favourite of mine. Of course, I still own a Godzilla, and there are some other games which I've yet to do and which I've owned, which are going to rank really highly on this game. There's also some games that are going to rank pretty low, and some of them are going to be controversial because some of those games that are going to go really low, they're going to be some of your favourites as well, but I didn't necessarily get along with them. So for the moment, until we do a revision, the Big Lebowski is in second place on the top 50. Now, that is going to be really interesting on that, and I can't really say much more and give any higher praise. Well, I guess I could give one more higher praise, couldn't I, to Dutch Pinball for the game that they've produced, but it is a masterpiece. I do, for all the reasons that I've already outlined. They have created a magnificent, not just a magnificent game, but a magnificent pinball machine. And I do think the two are different. Foo Fighters, which I'm lucky to have here as well, will obviously make an appearance on there. Foo Fighters is a damn good game, a really good game, but I wouldn't call it a magnificent pinball machine. But it's a very, very good game. I think what they've done here, Dutch Pinball, is they've made both. And that's not an easy thing to do at all. And it's certainly something that you will see at the very top of that list, all of that. Do you know what? I got to do it. It's annoying me. A bit controversial here. It is annoying me. I'm sorry. That has got to be done there. And I'm not even entirely sure it deserves to be above Judge Dredd, quite frankly. But there you go. Big Lebowski, Dutch Pinball. Massive thanks to Dutch Pinball, who have been absolutely amazing with their correspondence. Even bigger thanks, a debt of thanks, actually, to Phil at Pinball Heaven, without whom I wouldn't even have one of these at all. So there you go.